Welcome back to Toledo's most local 9 a.m. show. Good day.
Yeah, so the Glass City is full of colorful characters who left their stories and their secrets in writing through letters and other artifacts. If local history intrigues you, we have just the book for you.
Local historian Ted Long joins us this morning with the Toledo Papers. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So this is the latest of some of the history books you have put out here.
Yeah, this is my third one.
Your third.
Yeah.
And this one's interesting because it has letters and papers.
Yeah, so I've had many friends who are big collectors, and they collect everything. I mean, from, we call it ephemera, a lot of the stuff like tickets to the Dempsey-Willard fight, or, you know, an old map or whatever it might be. And I just thought, wouldn't it be cool to take some of those items and then tell the backstory that goes with it? And that's what we've done in the book.
Oh, I love that. So Ted, do you know what you started with? So where did you start here to lead you to write this book?
Actually, it was just a lot of time spent at Main Library and local history, researching other things. I still have a history blog that I do at holytoledohistory.com. So, and it's like rabbit holes, you know, you'll go there to research one thing and you end up finding something and you go down a completely different path. And so I'll tuck that away and say, I'm going to come back to that later. And that's, over a while you start to pile that up and then you decide we're going to put a book together.
So what are some of the, give us maybe a little teaser,
Sure.
some of the little stories or papers that we might be reading?
So the first chapter actually is the oldest. It goes back to 1805, and it's a letter from Fort Industry, written by two gentlemen from Connecticut, writing back to Connecticut, announcing that they were here for the Treaty of Fort Industry. And I go into all the details about the fort, the treaty, the gentlemen that were involved, but you have to buy the book and find out what happens. It's a thriller at the end. It's good.
I love that. So just flipping through those pages, Ted, I opened up to the chapter, The Other Paco. So that's something that was unique to me because that name is such a staple here in Toledo.
That's right.
Maybe people wouldn't know about this other Paco. Could you talk to us about exploring that a little bit?
That's John Paco, and the piece of ephemera I used to launch that story is a 1920 City of Toledo building permit John and his wife took out to add on to their residence to open a restaurant on Consol. And so they were the first, John was the first Paco to get into the restaurant business. Tony eventually comes to work for him, and I tell the story of that and how all that came together.
Aha, so there's even more backstory.
Exactly, yeah.
Interesting. So it looks like a pretty easy read too, you know, for people to just
It is, and what's kind of fun too is you know, it has a ton of pictures of historical pictures of Toledo and Toledo characters. One of my favorites is a letter a friend gave me. Jack Hempel's father, John, wrote a letter back to his family right after the Battle of the Bulge, which he participated in and was awarded I think the Bronze Star. He and all of his buddies got together and went into the Alps and did a ski trip. And he writes this fascinating letter home describing to his parents, you know, this ski trip with his ski buddies. It's really kind of fun. At the same time, he's such a good writer. It's just fascinating to hear how he tells the story.
Yeah, I love that. And Ted, we know from talking to you before, history, Toledo history specifically, is something that's near and dear to your heart.
Sure.
So why is there a need for people in the community to read these stories, look at those letters?
I like to think about it as kind of connecting the dots. There's things today that you hear about or you drive by or you read about and you don't realize there's a whole backstory and that it's been there forever and there's a lot of people who may be responsible for it. So, for example, one of the stories we tell is John Gunkel, the person who founded the Newsboys, which is now responsible for the Boys and Girls Clubs. You know, you don't really think about all that history, but that goes back to 1892.
Well, and as you mentioned too, Fort Industry, you mentioned, we have a Fort Industry Square right on Summit Street, kind of connecting those dots.
Exactly.
Yeah, peeling the layers back a little bit, digging a little deeper into the titles and names of places around town.
Yeah, and I think it makes you appreciate your hometown a little bit better when you know the history.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So you have, this is the latest, and then you said two others.
So I have two others. One is called Forgotten Visitors, story of people who visited Toledo over the last 200 years. And then actually the one book that sold the best out of anything I've ever done was 100 Things to Do in Toledo Before You Die. And it is in its third printing now, and it just continues to go. So I'm, happy for that. And then, so this is the third, and I'm actually working on a fourth. The book title is Table for None, Lost Restaurants of Toledo.
Okay.
That'll pique a lot of interest.
It's going to be fun.
I see a lot of people posting on Facebook, what was the name of that restaurant that used to be here or there? So
Anything about Dyer Steakhouse going
Oh,
to be
absolutely.
That? Okay, all right.
And I'm working with a collector, Mark Snyder, who has menus, swizzle sticks, napkins, match packs from all these restaurants. So we'll include that as well in the story of the restaurant and then those different items.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Where can people get this and the ones that you've already printed?
They're all available on Amazon.com, and soon the new book, Toledo Papers, next week will be available at Gathering Volumes in Perrysburg. I think it makes a great Christmas present for people interested in history or just interested in Toledo.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Ted.
Yep. Well, coming up.
Yeah, we're going to continue with a little bit more Good Day. Stay with us.